Let's say you're perusing the shelves of your local whiskey shop trying to find a bottle to purchase, and you have this dilemma. You're hungry, and you also want to buy a tasty sandwich, but it looks like that only leaves you enough money to purchase a blended scotch. A decent one maybe, like the one here. But what if you don't feel like blended scotch? What if you want a whiskey that's all malt whiskey, that hasn't been diluted with a bunch of cheap corn squeezings? Sometimes you don't want your barley spirit mixed in with the slightly stomach-turning sweetness of grain whiskey. That leaves you with a problem though. Most of the guys making malt whiskey are going to want to take not only your blended scotch money, but your sandwich money too, especially if they have an age statement. What are you supposed to do then? Spend all your money on a single malt and then go home and make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? That's depressing. You really had your heart set on a nice big sandwich. Maybe something with avocado and some sort of aioli. Can't you have both? Do you really have to sacrifice your sandwich just because you want a whiskey that's all malt? As it turns out, there are a few options that let you have both, and this whiskey here is a good example of that. So why don't you go ahead and put that blended scotch back on the shelf, and buy this one instead. They're about the same price, and you'll have the satisfaction of knowing that when you get home, you get to enjoy a nice glass of malt whiskey, and your hoagie's gonna have bacon on it. But I know what you may be thinking. Aren't there some problems with this guy? I mean, he's bottled at a lame 40% ABV, and I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of brown dye in this. But is that so much of a problem? Do you really think this has more brown dye than that blended scotch you were gonna buy? And don't forget, that's bottled at 40% too. And remember those other malt whiskeys you were looking at? The other Glens you may have been thinking of giving all your hoagie money to? They also have brown dye, and they're bottled at 40% too. No, I think for the price you paid, you've done pretty well here. After all, you're getting a bottle of 100% malt whiskey that's at least 12 years old, and you're paying about the same price you would have for that blend you were looking at. So let's have a taste. It's got a nice nose. There's a little peach or apricot in there. Some vanilla custard. Definitely some melon. It's quite gentle on the attack too. Slightly creamy with a medium sweetness. There's some apple in there too. This is clearly an ex-bourbon cask malt. Has a decent amount of flavor too, especially at this weak 40%. There's not much of a finish though. It leaves without even saying goodbye, vanishing like a fart in the wind. With that said, all the flavors in here are good, and I'm not detecting any off notes or anything. It definitely has a good flavor to dollar ratio. Sure, it may not be super challenging or exotic, but it delivers an enjoyable malt whiskey experience at an attainable price. Very enjoyable. In fact, why don't we write a letter to the distillery and tell them they're doing a good job? Dear Glen Moray, how are you doing? I'm fine, thanks. I hope this letter finds you well. Anyway, I'm writing to say I just tried your 12-year-old single malt, and I think it's pretty tasty. It's a very good value. I heard you used to have public hangings on the distillery grounds a long time ago. Do you know the history of any of the criminals executed there? And do you know if the distillery manager ever let the employees go on breaks to watch the hangings? Now that we have TV, we can watch people get killed whenever we want, but I guess back then you couldn't do that as much, huh? Would you ever consider bottling your 12-year-old at 43% ABV instead of 40? I bet you could if you tried. I think that would make it just a little bit better. I know I'd really appreciate it. Best wishes, Professor Gene Odovy. There. Now that we've sent that off, all we have to do now is wait for them to write back. Although, I wonder if Glen Moray even has the authority to change their 12-year-old to 43%, even if they wanted to. That's probably up to their corporate ownership, huh? Who owns Glen Moray anyway? Let's find out. Who owns Glen Moray? Ah, there they are. Looks like they're owned by Lamartine. Let's see what they got here. Our brands? Our whiskeys? Okay. Label 5. Cutty Sark. Ah, Glen Moray. Oh, hi there. Oh, yeah. Actually, I think you can help me. Okay. I really like Glen Moray's 12-year-old single malt, but I think it would be even better if you bottled it at 43% instead of 40. Would you ever consider doing that? What? What's she talking about? Check my bottle. What's that supposed to mean? Whoa! Now that's service. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Would I like any other changes, huh? Oh, yeah. If you wanted to, you could take the caramel color out. That would make it better. There. Wow, natural color. That's great. Thank you very much. Would I like this whiskey to be cask strength? That's a stupid question. Cask strength? Yes, please. That would be great. Whoa, awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Wait a second. You're going to take the age statement away, aren't you? Really? Still 12 years old? That's awesome. I do have another follow-up question, though. Now that this is cask strength, is the price of this bottle gonna stay the same? Uh-oh. Ah, it's a special release now? Ah, crap. What? $100? Oh man, I got greedy. I should have quit while I was ahead. Now I have to wait until Christmas to get this one. Oh well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll come back again soon to share.